And the next family is the family of Xana Kernodle. And first would be Jasmine Kernodle, Xana's sister.
As this girl continues to talk about the loss of her sister and how it affects her family, you can actually see him get smaller and smaller and smaller. From the psychopath's point of view, again, the highest form of narcissism, this is not good because it doesn't make him look good at all.
Now, Scott, is that like almost like a defense mechanism? Like he's moving his arms in more like to almost like to block a blow, but metaphorically, of course.
But when you see what is referred to as turtling, that's when the person starts getting smaller. You see the shoulders come up because they're in other words, they're trying to hide. They're not trying to hide, but their brain's going, man, this isn't good. This isn't good at all. You know, and so from the psychological point of view, they're trying to make themselves smaller so they can't be seen as much. It makes no difference whatsoever. You can see them, but in their brain, that's what's happening. So that's why they start getting smaller. And he does that. That's a classic, 2 classic cases of it right there.
Yeah, just absolutely amazing. Mike, did you have a question?
Just a quick question. Watching everything with Kohlberger, I think I've only seen him actually smile once or twice in all the video we have of him, in all the pretrial motions and things like that. Why can't, if he's like a control freak, somewhat of a control freak, why can't he just plaster a stupid smile on his face at basically like an F you to everybody to say, you know what? I don't give a crap what you say about me, F you, and I'm just going to sit there and smile. Why can't he do that? Is it because he's so under attack, or he just can't do it at that moment? Is there something why he cannot like fight back against what's happening to him?
Well, let's take into consideration that he is also on the autism spectrum. So there's a lot happening with that. I'm fairly versed in that. And when you have a situation like this with an autistic person, a lot of times, like we were looking at the information intake, quite often they'll look around too. They don't know it's uncomfortable to look at somebody for too long and those kind of things. Mm-hmm. He may have accepted where he is already, so there's no reason to fight back with that. So he may have accepted that. And being on the spectrum, then he may not know the social cues that would mean if he were to make a face like that to give everybody an FU like that. He may not see it that way. Okay. So there's a lot in play here, and a lot of people are missing out on putting those two things together. And it's you'd have to get a definite diagnosis for a psychopath. You'd have to do an fMRI study on him to see. But he's got all the hallmarks of it. While at the same time, he does have the hallmarks of autism or being on the autism spectrum. So there's so much happening. There's no way to tell. I could say, oh, he's doing it because of this, but I'd just be, nobody would know that from a situation like this.
Yeah, I mean, aren't some body language that people exhibit just because that's the face they make when they talk?
Yeah.
Or this is, it's not everything can be interpreted as meaning something.
Exactly. That's another thing. People always think, for example, they think when somebody breaks eye contact, they're getting ready to lie, it's actually the opposite of that. If you're talking to someone, you ask them a question, where were you then? You came around this way, you give them a bunch of information and they look away. They're thinking, they're going, I don't know. Let me think about it. That's what your brain does. But if they keep looking at you, then most likely they're the ones not being honest, because we all know that everybody, if you break eye contact, it means you're lying. So they want to keep looking at you. Plus the fact their brain wants to keep an eye on you to make sure you believe them. Because if you don't believe them, they're going to start adding things to that to make their story more believable. You'll see that happen, as you've seen, I'm sure, 1,000 times too. But there's just so many things that go on with what people just naturally do. Not everyone is the same. So you can't say this body language cue means this every time you see it. If you hear somebody say that, that person isn't as versed as you'd want them to be. If you want to get research information from somebody, that probably wouldn't be the person. So,
well, it's just like certain movements could be just indicative to that person, how that person reacts to certain situations. And as you say, not a universal sign that means something specifically, right?
Exactly.
And I think that people that interview people and interrogate people for a living, they recognize that. They recognize those signs, and they know not to just, make it a single sum thing, that this means this no matter what,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's got to be interpreted in the context of the question, in the context of who you're speaking to.
Yeah, you have to take everything into consideration, what's happening in real time. But there is training out there that still goes against that. And they still say, when they do this, it means this. And that nothing bothers me more than that. Nothing bothers me more than that. For example, everything that I talk about or say this is this is that, all my stuff, I can go back to the matrix with you on anything I talk about. Who said it, what university it's from, who did the studies, those kind of things. Because if I was to give you information, if we're doing a training and you write that down, go, okay, I've got to remember this. That may get you killed or somebody else killed because you think, oh, they're not doing this, so I don't have to worry about that. I don't. That's not a red flag for me. So so I'd like to make sure everything I know is studied, and I don't go outside of that.